Have you ever looked at a currency exchange app right before an international trip, stared at the screen, and just felt, well, entirely confused? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. We all see those numbers bouncing around, but what do they actually mean? Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're breaking down exactly why the US dollar flexes its muscle, why other currencies sometimes drop the ball, and the invisible forces that are literally moving our money behind the scenes.
So, why does one single US dollar suddenly buy you over 150 Japanese yen? It's incredibly common to look at a number like that and think, wait, does that mean the US economy is 150 times bigger or stronger than Japan's? Or, maybe you've looked at the British pound and wondered why it sometimes carries a higher number than the dollar. Like, does the UK just have a cheat code for money? Let's bust this myth right out of the gate. The value of a country's money is not some high score on an arcade game. A bigger number doesn't automatically mean a better economy.
Okay, let's dive into this by defining what we're actually talking about when we discuss exchange rates. Welcome to Forex, or foreign exchange. Now, Forex isn't some mystical locked bank vault. It's actually just a massive, global market where currencies are bought and sold every single day. And here's the secret to the whole shebang. It's based purely on a global popularity contest, driven entirely by supply and demand. Just like any other item you might buy at the store, the price of money changes based on how many people want it at any given moment. To truly understand Forex, we've got to completely shift our perspective. Stop looking at money as just the physical cash sitting in your wallet. Instead, you need to start treating currencies like limited edition hype sneakers or, say, the newest iPhone release. See, currencies are products. They're bought up by banks, investors, and massive corporations continuously. And just like sneakerheads with serious FOMO, fear of missing out, global investors will literally scramble to buy a specific currency if they think it's the hottest, most valuable asset on the market. Let's walk through the exact step-by-step cause and effect of this global demand. Step 1. Imagine a massive European construction company decides they need to buy a fleet of Caterpillar tractors, which are manufactured right here in the US. Or maybe an everyday investor in London gets FOMO and wants to buy a bunch of Apple stock. Step 2. They can't use their local euros or pounds to do this. They actually have to sell their local currency. Step 3. They take that cash to the global market and buy US dollars. And step 4. Because of this massive, constant transaction cycle, the global demand for the dollar goes up. When everyone is trying to secure US dollars to do business, the value of the dollar gets swole. It rises.
Section 1. The big three drivers. What moves our money?
So what triggers that demand in the first place? Like, why does the world suddenly want to hoard one specific currency and totally ditch another? Well, it starts with the Federal Reserve, which essentially acts as the DJ of the US economy, setting the vibe for global investors everywhere. Number 1 on our list of drivers is interest rates. When the Federal Reserve jacks up US interest rates to, say, 5%, it means banks are paying out more money just for keeping your cash in a savings account or buying US government bonds. Foreign investors look at those sweet guaranteed returns and they flock to them. If an investor in Australia is only making 2% interest keeping their money at home, they're going to eagerly trade their local Aussie dollars for US dollars just to lock in that 5% return. That massive wave of cash flooding into the US spikes the demand, and boom, the dollar flexes.
The second big driver is inflation. Consider the famous Big Mac Index. And yes, that's a legit tool economists use to measure inflation and purchasing power. If a Big Mac costs $5 in the US, but the equivalent of $8 in another country, it clearly shows you how much purchasing power that foreign currency has lost. So the absolutely crucial point is this. If inflation is running wild, the cost of stuff gets more expensive, and your money just isn't buying as much as it used to. Global investors absolutely hate taking a loss on their cash. Low inflation keeps a currency status legit, but high inflation, it pretty much turns it into trash in the eyes of investors, and they will ditch it incredibly fast.
The third driver is what we call safe haven vibes. You see, money is, by its very nature, easily spooked. Honestly, it's a total coward. That's why the US dollar is often called the ultimate panic room for billionaires. If a country is dealing with massive national debt, political chaos, or, a literal war, investors will pull all their cash out and run, completely tanking that local currency. But the US economy? It's massive, our laws are predictable, and we have the biggest military on Earth. So when the global economy gets crazy, like during a pandemic or a major conflict, investors from all over the world park their cash in US dollars simply because it feels safe.
Section 2. The dollar's secret weapon.
And this brilliantly illustrates an underlying structural force at play that gives the United States a massive baseline advantage over everyone else. That secret weapon is the petrodollar. Almost everywhere in the world, if a country wants to buy oil, they have to pay for it using US dollars. It's the accepted global standard. This means it doesn't matter if you're running a country in Asia, Africa, or Europe. If you need gas and oil to power your cities and run your economy, you are forced to buy US dollars first to make that transaction happen. This creates a permanent, massive, guaranteed baseline demand for our money that literally no other country in the world gets to enjoy.
Section 3. The pizza slice myth.
Let's circle back to clear up that lingering misconception about the yen and the whole 150 to 1 thing. Imagine a country's total wealth is a giant pizza. You can slice that pie into a few massive, thick slices on one side, or you can slice it into 100 tiny slivers on the other. The total amount of food, the total wealth of the economy, is exactly the same. You're just measuring it differently. Historically, Japan simply chose to slice their economic pie into way smaller pieces than the US did. So a big number on the exchange rate doesn't mean their economy is broke or weak, it's just their baseline. And here's the trick. You don't need to care about the baseline number. You only need to care about the trend. If your dollar buys 150 yen today, but 160 yen next week, well, that is the only time the yen is actually losing its value.
Section 4. The real-world impact.
So what does this all mean for you? How does a flexing dollar actually feel in your everyday wallet? Well, it's a massive balancing act, creating very clear winners and losers. Let's look at the winners first. US tourists and importers. When the dollar is super strong, taking a vacation to Europe or Japan is basically a cheat code. You're going to live like absolute royalty because your American dollars buy way more of their local money. It also means imported goods like the newest electronics from Asia or avocados from Mexico cost us less. But let's flip that around and consider the losers. A ridiculously strong dollar is actually a nightmare for US manufacturers and exporters. Imagine Ford trying to sell American-made trucks in Europe. Because the dollar is so strong compared to the euro, that truck suddenly becomes incredibly expensive for European buyers, and they might just decide to buy a local Volkswagen instead. So while a strong dollar makes your vacation awesome, it can actually hurt US manufacturing and cause job losses back home.
So the next time you hear on the news that the dollar is up or down, you're going to know exactly what's going on behind the scenes. It's not just random numbers on a screen, it's literally millions of people, banks, and governments trying to score the best deal, reacting to interest rates, inflation, and who has the safest economy on the block. The global hustle never stops. So, what wild money topic or stock market mystery should we tackle next? Let me know what you want to see decoded. Thanks for learning with us, and I'll catch you in